Good evening. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Wendell Town Board of Commissioners, and welcome to all of you. We have a nice full house tonight. That's always exciting. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by my new friend, London Williams from Wendell Middle School. So his principal sent me this information. We are proud to honor London Williams as an outstanding student at Wendell Magnet Middle School. According to Maya Angelou, as you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. When we think of the core values that make London special, it is not his incredible intelligence, his sense of curiosity, or dedication to hard work that set him apart from others. While these are all attributes he possesses, we find his ability to look at all those around him and have a sense of his ability to look at all those around him and have a sense of empathy to be the greatest gift he has. At this very young age, London has already learned that he must help himself, but that he was indeed given another hand to help those around him. While London works hard to maintain his grades and live up to his responsibilities, London also notices if someone is having a hard time or is in a time of need. Regardless of the need that there is, London will go out of his way to help those around him. We appreciate the greetings, the laughter, and the litany of curious questions he always has. London has maintained his grades and is serving as a parliamentarian of the Wendell Magnet Middle School chapter of the National Junior Honor Society. Congratulations for that. We could not be more proud of London and the extraordinary growth he has made over the past 3 years. Well, oh my goodness, I'm so pleased to meet you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, let's all stand up. Go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. You did a wonderful job. For our invocation tonight from the Wendell Council of Churches, we're going to hear from Pastor Ryan Craddock from the Wendell Christian Church. Good evening. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. My resume pales in comparison to London's.
It's a tough act to follow.
Right.
I get it.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. I'm a new pastor at Wendell Christian Church, and been there for 3 months, and it's wonderful to be a part of this community, and honored to pray with you all today. Let's do it. Creator God, we praise you for being both great and good, for building the cosmos and giving us a life to live within it, and even life within you. Thank you for servant leaders here who followed your call to be good stewards of Wendell and to bloom where they're planted. Fill these neighbors with your wisdom, your humility, courage, and compassion. May they seek your guidance and follow your will as they move to manifest your vision for this community. May we all share in your compassionate care for those who are considered the least among us, those who are most important to you. Finally, we pray for these small town values of family, friendliness, integrity, and looking after each other to spread and grow as our community grows, that we may be united as a light for other communities across the land. Protect us, O Lord. Fill us with your Spirit and move us to do good. It's in your precious name of the God who saves. Amen.
Thank you, and welcome to Wendell. Are there any adjustments of the agenda?
I do have one, Mayor.
Okay.
First, I think it's a really exciting one because we have 2 Pleasant Grove items on our agenda tonight, but they're a little bit spread out in our schedule. So I would just propose that we take item 6F at the very end of our agenda and move it up to the beginning of section 6 so that it will immediately follow item 5A, and both of those are items related to Pleasant Grove.
Okay. So is your motion to approve the agenda as adjusted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustment. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. We have no one signed up for public comment tonight, but as a quick reminder, you can sign up for public comment the night of the meeting, right at the door, and you have 3 minutes to speak. And you can sign up also by submitting written statements by email to the town clerk before 5 o'clock on the Friday prior to the Monday meeting. Please include your full name and address, and comments that are received timely will be read into the record for 3 minutes. All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move to section 4, recognitions, reports, and presentations. And item 4A is the recognition of Wendell Middle School teacher, Miss Kat Slade. I'm sorry, I may not have told you, you have to come up here. We can't sufficiently all embarrass you and stare at you if you're sitting back in the back. This was received from your principal. We are excited to honor Kat Slade as an outstanding teacher and leader at Wendell Magnet Middle School. Ms. Slade is our talented band director, arts department chair, and mentor to new teachers. Plato is noted for saying that music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, and flight to the imagination, and life to everything. This quote best describes the meaningful work that Kat Slade does with our students. She opens their minds to possibilities and curiosities they may never have otherwise encountered or considered. When we see the extraordinary growth our students make in the arts, we see first the hand of inspiration and empowerment that is created when students find their love and passion in the arts. Of course, it is leadership, dedication, and organization. It is the leadership, dedication, and organization of Ms. Slade that teaches our students to make beautiful music. But more than that, she works hard to create a symphony of opportunities that touch the lives of so many of our students beyond classroom instruction. Through competitions, concerts, and field trips, Ms. Slade teaches her students to have a sense of pride, to be reflective, and to take on challenges. We are honoring Ms. Slade because she thoughtfully teaches students to explore music and learn how that music can cultivate a fabric of creativity that can be woven throughout their lives. When I read that, I just was, as I told you, I was blown away. It was very nice. We're so lucky to have you here in Wendell, and we just wanted to have you here, and thank you for that, and thank you for everything that you do for our kids in Wendell. And I have to say, between you and London, we're great folks at Wendell Middle School, so.
We do.
Yes.
We do. May I say a?
You can say anything you want. You have the floor, and there's no limit. So you just
All right.
go ahead.
Well then. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to express my thanks for this recognition. The fact that you are recognizing teachers within our community is just amazing. I feel fortunate to be part of this community for 11 years, and school where collaboration, dedication, and passion are the heart of everything that we do. Our students' successes are a direct result of the support, encouragement, and partnerships we have cultivated with one another. It's the strength of the bond between our school and our community that allows us to have our students thrive, whether it's through programs or many hours spent creating a positive environment for all learning. Our students are curious, hardworking, and resilient. They are the reason I do this work every day, and I'm so proud of all that they've achieved. Our teachers and staff believe in the potential of every student. Together, we've built an environment where growth and learning can flourish. Thank you, Wendell, for your continuous support, your involvement, and your belief in the power of education. You have directly impacted my band program by inviting us to perform at various events, like the Wendell Wonderland, and advertising the arts through your social media platforms. As we move forward, I am filled with optimism for the future, knowing that we can continue to create opportunities, inspire excellence, and make our lasting impact on the lives of our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you've never heard the Wendell Middle School Jazz Band at the Wendell Wonderland, you're missing out. You should go next year and hear them. They're always there, and they're always great. Item 4B is a presentation on Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road intersection improvements. We're going to hear from our planning director, Brian Coates.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and board members. Excited to be before you tonight on a variety of items. This first one is to give you a project update on the improvements that are under design for the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road. Just to give you a little background, our consultants that we went through an RFQ process for is VHB as our contract designer. They are designing the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock, which will be for you tonight, the Eagle Rock Road extension, and also Wendell Boulevard and Selma, which those items will come back to you at a future date with a project update. As I said, we have VHB engineering under contract for a full build-out in all directions at the intersection. Both roads, just key to maintain, are maintained by NCDOT. Neither one is a town road. However, we are using town funds to design that future improvements. The project is well under design. And it was 2024, we had some new base traffic counts. In the design years, the consultants looked at 2035 and 2050 with our growth rates and expected trip counts from neighboring developments and growth over the last few decades. At full build-out, our transportation plan has Eagle Rock Road and Wendell Falls Parkway as 4-lane divided roadways with medians, very similar to what you see in Wendell Falls today, with multi-use path, street trees, a median that can also serve as a turn lane. And so that's the typical cross-section that is under design currently with some adjustments for that intersection. VHB looked at traffic counts, as I said, in early '24, but also then applied with our development and what we've been seeing growth-wise on the corridor, and determined in 2035 what's needed to have that intersection function properly, and then also the next slide is 2050. And so we have been working with them. You can see the 2050 has additional turn lanes and through traffic. We have been working with them on designing full build. Our intention all along is not to do piecemeal projects throughout the corridor. It is to make wholesale improvements that are noticeable and will not linger for decades until we get to full build out. So where we are today, the full build out includes 4-lane median divided roadways with turn lanes on both roads at the intersection. As I said, it's based on future traffic counts and expected traffic. The improvements are roughly 900 feet to about 1,200 in each direction. The turn lanes coming from Johnston County certainly are longer than the turn lanes at the other focal points. It does include multi-use path, and the details in there are multiple turn lanes and 2 lanes in each direction for through traffic. It is key to note, we are working with developers. Later on in the agenda, you'll see 2 fee in lieu proposals by developers for some of those turn lanes. And so at the full build out, we are also working with 6 nearby developments that have improvements at that intersection through their TIAs. We also now have a development on the northeast corner for a grocery anchored shopping center that will need to do frontage improvements, but also TIA improvements as well. So it's a lot of coordination between the town, VHB, and developers. DOT has been an active partner in this, and they are very supportive of us collecting a fee in lieu for some improvements as long as we spend it at that intersection. So to give you an update, VHB will get the construction drawing design about 60% complete in April of 2025 for that intersection. The town will work with VHB to continue having the construction drawings, and we anticipate 100% construction drawings in fall of 2025. Right-of-way plans will be completed this April, and then we'll start the right-of-way process with neighboring property owners and developers to start that process. I can field any questions you have on this project update. As I said, we do have 2 other agenda items later on for the fee in lieus for some of the turn lanes that have been identified in the traffic impact analysis.
Any questions from the board?
I feel like I hear more applause.
No. Thank y'all I know this is a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces with a variety of developments, DOT, but it's all coming together, which is exciting.
It is exciting. Thank
You're welcome.
All right, item 4C is a Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee charter. We're going to hear from Assistant Manager Stephanie Smith.
Good evening. I am filling in for Jeff this evening, so I will do my best to represent him well. As you know, July 2024, town has successfully taken over programming at the Eastern Wake Senior Center. Part of that transition involves addressing the former Eastern Wake Senior Center Auxiliary Board and evaluate the best way to continue to offer a voice for the senior population in Wendell. Staff completed a comparative analysis of municipalities in the area that oversee senior centers. Below are the list of findings. This information was also detailed in your packet. So considering the pros and cons of each of the options, we have outlined all the potential options for moving forward with representation of the senior community in the town of Wendell. Option 1 would be to increase the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee by 2 members, aged 55 and older, to represent the senior community. Pros would be it provides representation of the senior community. Less strain on staff resources, as the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission is an existing committee. The Special Population and Events Coordinator, who handles our senior programming, would only need to attend business after-hours meetings if the agenda has specific senior topics that would not be able to be covered by the Parks and Recreation Director. And the existing advisory commission does have capacity to add senior-related topics, and so their agenda would have space to add a special topic item such as senior-related issues and concerns. Cons would be potential perception that the senior population is not fully represented, since this is a departure from the auxiliary commission that was existing prior to the town taking over the senior center. Option 2 would be to establish a standalone senior advisory commission. This would allow for senior-only related topics, and this maintains the idea of the existing auxiliary board, but would fall under the current town board structure. Pros would be this is consistent with other jurisdictions in the comparative analysis. Also, standalone representation of the senior community allows for just senior-only related topics instead of all Parks and Recreation topics at a commission meeting. Cons would be additional strain on staff resources, as this committee would be run by the Special Population and Events Coordinator, so they would need to attend all the meetings, which would likely be held after hours. There is also a potential for misunderstanding roles and authority, since this would be similar to the previously existing auxiliary board. Option 3 would be to maintain the Eastern Wake Senior Center Auxiliary Board as it was prior to July 1. Pros, this is what the seniors have known previously. Cons, the size of the current board would be difficult to manage. It's much larger than what our current commissions are. Another con would be additional staff resources would be needed to maintain the board, similar to a standalone senior commission. Technically, the auxiliary board has no official authority, since it's not a board-appointed committee, as our other commissions are. The current bylaws are in violation of town policy, as they involve things like fundraising and solicitation of businesses. And there may be some confusion that the senior center is now actually a town-run facility, since there wouldn't be any obvious changes to the commission in how it is run. We do have a recommendation. Our recommendation is option 1, which would be to increase the existing Recreation Advisory Commission by 2 members aged 55 and older. Staff feels that would be the best solution for keeping the goals set forth when we took over the senior center. This item is on the agenda as a presentation to give the board an opportunity to ask questions and discuss as a body, and give staff direction on how you would like us to move forward.
All right, what are y'all's thoughts?
How much discussion has there been with just the senior center, current board, current members over there regarding changes?
So the previous auxiliary board, of course, has the awareness that the town has taken over senior programming, and they have been informed that we are moving forward to ensure that there still is representation of the senior community, but we had indicated at that time we did not know what that would look like specifically.
Have they seen either of these options or any of these discussions with your thoughts to them?
Not currently, no.
To me, it just seems like I mean, I definitely understand number one, the con of the perception that they're not being fully represented as
One quick. One quick question. I've heard no negative feedback, only positive. Was there any negative pushback from you guys' perspective? So if you heard anything that would be against option one?
We have not, no.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
And then the addition of 2 members would be much like our other board appointees, I guess. The process
Correct.
become applicants.
Yes.
For the board.
Yes, and so should option one be what the board decides to move forward with, those seat appointments would be rolled into our next recruitment effort for all of our commissions when we recruit for positions for expired seats.
And do we have option 2? Obviously, one of the cons is the misunderstanding roles and authority. Can you maybe elaborate on that? Like, is there a reason? Is that just, we think that might be a?
It's what we discussed might be a possibility. If a standalone board looks too similar to the previous auxiliary board, there might be confusion that it's the same thing. Of course, any decision that the board makes, staff would put a lot of effort into educating the senior center members so that there's a full understanding of what this is and what it is not.
Okay, that makes sense. And did we, in our analysis from the other locations, was that, how deep in the weeds did we really go on that? Was it just, here's what we have?
Basically, yeah, it was reaching out to our partner communities as well as kind of the overall listserv group and doing a little bit of research of who we could get responses from, who run their own senior programming or their own senior centers, rather. The feedback overall that we received is there are pros and cons to having a standalone senior commission. So using that input based on our experience with our senior center, we felt that adding 2 seats to the existing commission would be the best option for us.
And I have not heard, since the last auxiliary board meeting, I personally have not heard anything, really any input, but certainly nothing negative, and I'm in there at least once a month, so. Okay, thank you.
I just wouldn't want them to feel like something had happened that they weren't aware of. So can we make sure that we have a conversation with them and explain to them that this is how this works? I think it's beneficial to us that we didn't do this right away when we started with the senior center, so it gave them time to realize we were going to do a great job for them. And so I think maybe the only thing about the auxiliary board that remains and that would be attractive to them is the socialization aspect of it. But I know we've added programming and picked up programming that had been dropped, so maybe they're having those opportunities in other ways. Maybe remind them of that, or maybe have a little cookie day every now and then, make up, something that they do that's different to make up for it. So, but I would be inclined to make it like the other boards myself. Anyone else?
Sounds like we have a agreement from everyone.
Option one.
Yes, ma'am. I'd make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to have option one. All in favor?
Can I ask one question? Just
Yeah,
before-
yeah.
Just to make sure I understand what we're voting on. Is this option 1 move forward with, and then you'll bring back the actual
Correct,
language
yes.
once
The next
that's-
step would be the amended charter that actually shows the 2 additional seats, yes.
At one time, there were senior members on the Parks and Recreation Board at one time, quite some time ago. So we already know how to do that. Be great. All right, so we're having a motion to option 1, adopt option 1. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. All right, item 5, we'll move into our public hearing, section 5 rather, and item 5A is a public hearing for a contiguous annexation of approximately 9.44 acres, PIN number 179319680 and 17931999816, located at 948 and 952 Morphus Bridge Road.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. Tonight's public hearing, we're asking you to hold the public hearing and make a motion to adopt the attached ordinance. Pleasant Grove Baptist Church and the Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Wendell Board of Trustees has submitted an annexation request for those parcels that you mentioned in the pins. The Carver School, located on the property at 948 Morphus Bridge, is in the process of becoming a community center in partnership with the town of Wendell and Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. The town of Wendell has received some federal funding from Congresswoman Deborah Ross and will be utilizing town bond funds as well for this project. Also, I didn't mention, but we did receive some funding from Wake County as well. Property needs to be within the town limits for town funds to be utilized for the community center. There is not a rezoning with this. Sometimes you see rezonings with annexations. The community center, the church, the school, all of that's allowed in their current zoning, so there's not a rezoning application. Here's a map showing you the location. It's just the focal point of where Morphus Bridge, 3rd Street, and Old Wilson all come together, kind of the heart of the Pleasant Grove community. The church is located on the right-hand side. The school buildings are on the larger parcel. Both properties are currently connected to utilities and not within town limits. Therefore, they're paying double rates for that utility service. So once annexation occurs and gets recorded, their utility fees through the city of Raleigh will be reduced about 50%. Staff is recommending approval of the annexation, and there are members of the Pleasant Grove community that probably would like to speak tonight as well. And I can field any questions that you may have.
All right, let's open the public hearing. Any questions from the board? All right, so would they rather speak in their comment opportunity or as an applicant, or does it matter?
It doesn't.
Okay. All right, so is there anyone from the public that would like to be heard in favor or against the annexation request? Oh, come on, y'all. You're all here. All right, anything else from the board?
Yeah, Mayor, just, and maybe if anybody gets inspired and wants to talk after this, I bet the
Yeah,
mayor would
we'll
let you.
go back
But
to you.
while you think about that for a minute, I just want to say,
here comes somebody.
I'm particularly interested, and I don't know that it's a secret to anybody, in our community's history, and just enjoy it. It's an interesting place. Wendell's a neat community, and it does not take very long in learning about and reading about our town's history to really quickly realize the significance that Pleasant Grove as a community, Pleasant Grove Baptist as an institution, have had in the history of the town of Wendell, and certainly by far predate the incorporation of the town of Wendell. It's just a place with some really, really rich history, and I think it's really exciting to have an opportunity to take a vote like this. And there's a little bit of history, I think, this may be worth noting about annexation as a concept. I think probably folks that have lived in North Carolina for all their lives, like lots of us in the room, remember a time when local governments annexing property sometimes was a scary thing. It wasn't always something that people looked on as a positive, and for lots of reasons. And so a decade or so ago, the legislature really restricted the authority of towns to annex property, especially property where the property owner did not want to be annexed into a town. And probably at the end of the day, that's a pretty good thing. So I think it's worth saying out loud here specifically for this tonight that we couldn't take this vote without Pleasant Grove as a community allowing us to take the vote. So I just want to say thanks. I think it's a really cool opportunity to have as a member of this board, something I'm proud to be able to do. I guess I've told you how I'm going to vote, if there's a question there. But anyway, just I appreciate all of you being here tonight, too.
Give me your name and address for the record, sir.
James Pham, 17 Deer Lake Trail, Wendell, North Carolina. And I started to let this moment go by, but then I decided I shouldn't,
Can't let it go
because
by.
I have waited and waited for this moment. You know, the Deacon Board used to meet, and we used to dream about a building across the street. We didn't have a dime. You know, we were just dreaming. And as fate would have it, you know, things began to come together. And I am so glad that this is happening for Wendell and especially for that community down there. So I just want to thank all of you for being a positive force in making this happen.
Thank you, Dr. Parham. I knew I'd shake y'all up. Get y'all to
Good
come up.
evening, Madam Mayor,
Give me your
Commissioner.
name and address.
Well, I'm not sure that I can stand, so I'm going to need special privilege to do it. I'm Asa Bell, 2401 Millstone Harbor Drive in Raleigh, North Carolina. Thank you for permission to speak. I serve as pastor at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church and have for the last 18 years. One of the challenges of being a minister or pastor is we have a reputation for being long-winded. I will not be long-winded tonight. This project has been a blessing and it continues to be a blessing, and I think a benefit not just to parts of Wendell, but to the entirety of Wendell. Our goal has been, and we've talked about this in various settings, to be one Wendell, says someone from Raleigh who has a vested interest in what happens in this small, quaint town that no longer is a small town, but is still quaint. I echo Deacon Dr. Parham in what he said. This is a unique opportunity. It is one that we have dreamed of. The services that will be provided through this community center will be second to none. And I think that it is part of bringing Wendell together. So thank you all so much for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this project, for facilitating this project. I also want to commend our town manager who has worked with us and town staff who continue to work with us to bring this to fruition. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your vote.
Anyone else? Come on. Let me hear your name and address.
Michael Vereen, 712 Moss Road, Zebulon, North Carolina, and I'm part of the leadership team at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. I know Pastor mentioned Mark, but also when this project started out, funding that came forth, when we were having some conversations. So just really want to commend the commissioners as well. I think we got 100% support or whatever from you guys.
Yeah.
So, and that's wonderful because that sort of provided that everyone had a buy-in. So we couldn't have gotten where we are without the entire support of the board. So thank you for that as well.
Come on up here, Reverend Lee. Your name and address.
Hello, how's everyone tonight? I am James Lee, which most of you all know, and I'm appreciative of being here and thankful for this meeting. In late 1980s and early 90s, we started this project. I was on town board commissioner, and then we had problems about asbestos in the building, and it came to a stop. But God has a way of doing things, and I'm pleased to know that I'm hearing and seeing the progress of which has been made already. I give my hat to Pastor Bell, good friend of mine. I call him my son in the ministry. I'm a retired pastor also, but I just thank God for what has happened. I sit there and I listen. I wasn't going to say anything, but there's a song that goes, I wasn't going to tell anybody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. And I thank you for what you've done, commissioners, and the input that we need. I live right there, by the way, right at the corner of Carver School. Been there for years in the 70s. And I'm thankful to see the extended walkway go down further. We need some more visibilities of the policemen in the area. It's not a bad area, but we need that help. We need that help. And again, I thank you for your services and what you've done and what you're doing in the community. God bless you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, anything else from the board?
Mayor, I'll just echo everyone else, and it was really fun to listen to each of those folks come up and speak. Each of those folks have I've had conversations with about this project, and I know at least 3 of them I've said I don't know how we would ever come up with that kind of money and that kind of, but to Reverend Lee's point, God does, and certainly cool to see this one across the line. Dr. Parham, I appreciate you. I appreciate all of y'all and the commitment y'all have to other portions of this community and all the tentacles that you have throughout the community in serving us. And with that, Madam Mayor, we want to make a motion at any time for the,
Hold on a minute. We hadn't closed the public hearing.
I
So no one else wants to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. All right, now make your motion.
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the annexation of properties located at 948 and 952 Morphus Bridge Road.
All right, we have a motion to approve the annexation of the property located at 948 and 952 Morphus Bridge Road. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, but I just,
That's okay.
this, spoiler alert, like Commissioner Eatman, I think everybody knows where I land on this. Friends, family, it feels like, so this is a long time coming. This is a big deal tonight. We've already had a few tears shed earlier, so I'll try not to say a whole lot, but this is very meaningful to myself, to my family, just to our community. It's a big deal, and I'm proud to be sitting up here. And I didn't lay the groundwork and the foundation over all these years, but it means a lot to be able to, I won't say across the finish line, but we're getting close. So tonight is very meaningful. So thank you for everybody for hanging in there.
We're all getting it across the finish line together. One Wendell, right? When I'm out in the world and people ask me about what's going on in Wendell, this is the thing that I tell them, because there's a lot of great, the intersection improvement we just heard about, there's a lot of great things happening, but this one is unique and special, and we're so pleased, and I'm particularly pleased. It's probably the best thing that will happen by far, during my time on the town board. So thank you so much for working with us and for your friendships now. I treasure them. All right, so we had the motion, I'll repeat it, to annex 948 and 952 Morphus Bridge Road. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right. Now we're going to move to 6F. Is a memorandum of agreement between the Town of Wendell, the North Carolina State Historic Preservation Officer, and Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Wendell regarding the redevelopment of the Carver School site at 948 Morphus Bridge Road, Wendell, Wake County, North Carolina.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. We're asking you tonight to approve the draft MOA between the Town of Wendell, North Carolina State Historic Preservation Officer, the Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Wendell, regarding the redevelopment of the Carver School site, and authorize the town manager to sign the final agreement as amended. This process, the redevelopment of the old Carver School site into a community center, will have an adverse effect on the historic property that's eligible for the National Register of Historic Places. The use of federal funds does require the review of the project by the State Historic Preservation Office, otherwise known as SHPO, for review and making the determination. Federal code provides for a process including the development of the attached MOA, Memorandum of Agreement, between SHPO, the town, and the property owner, to identify mitigation strategies to mitigate the adverse effects of the project. The town is responsible to ensure that mitigation items are implemented. The draft MOA is attached in your packet, does provide for the following. Document a permanent record through photography, the current condition of the Carver School. Andre Johnson Architects, which was selected by the town and Pleasant Grove to work on this project, has been our architect throughout the process, is completing this work and submitted the initial record to SHPO and received comment back. We did receive the final updated documents Friday, and so we have that part of the packet. As part of that project, we're going to create a virtual story map depicting the history of education in Wendell and showcase historic school properties, including Carver. The work is included in the Pleasant Grove Neighborhood Plan scope of work assigned to Withers Ravenel and will be coordinated with the Wendell Historical Society and Capital Area Preservation. In addition to being provided for the SHPO website, a monitor will be in the rehabbed community center in the light tower area to provide a historic display, including the story map. So that can have materials related to the historic significance of the community, the school, and other details of the neighborhood. Preservation coordination will be conducted with the Wendell Historical Society and Capital Area Preservation to provide for the preparation of the Carver School public display, identification of historic architectural elements prior to construction starting, and incorporation of a commemorative community project using building materials to provide a memory and memoir to the community and school alumni. The work was discussed at a project team meeting on January 8th and will be coordinated with the contractor and our historic partners. As we mentioned, staff will continue to work with our partners to finalize the wording edits prior to signature. The completed MOA is required as part of our federal reporting to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, which is where the funds from Congresswoman Ross were appropriated. As part of an environmental review of the project, the town manager will sign the MOA and notify the board of any changes. Major changes, substantive changes will come back to you, will be returned for consideration if needed. I can field any questions that you have on this as well.
All right, any questions from the board?
If I can just add one thing, that the SHPO office provided us the draft MOA and worked with us to help modify it, so this is expected language.
This is probably the final product, is what you're saying.
There might be a little bit of
Tiny tweak.
wordsmith.
Okay.
This is what all the parties discussed.
Okay.
And then put into the agreement.
Thank you. All right, anything else from the board?
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the MOA between the Town of Wendell, the State Historic Preservation Officer, and the Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Wendell regarding the redevelopment of Carver School, and authorize the town manager to sign the final amendment agreement as amended.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve the MOA between the Town of Wendell, the North Carolina State Historic Preservation Officer, and Pleasant Grove Baptist Church of Wendell regarding the redevelopment of the Carver School site, and authorize the town manager to sign the final agreement as amended. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. All right, let's move up to originally item 6A. Well, I'm going to keep calling them by those numbers. Is a fee in lieu request for Wendell Estates, Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road turn lane for $716,415.20.
Good evening, Mayor and board
Good evening.
members. So the next two items are related to fee in lieu request at the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road. We're asking you to make a motion to accept the fee in lieu for the required improvements at the intersection, to take the fee in lieu funds, and then they will be applied to our town project of full build-out at the intersection. The developer of Wendell Estates has been working with the town on a fee in lieu estimate for 2 turn lanes as part of their traffic impact analysis for the community that are identified at the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road. The first is a 200-foot right turn lane from Eagle Rock Road onto Wendell Falls Parkway heading westbound towards Wendell Falls. The second is a 150-foot left turn lane from Wendell Falls Parkway onto Eagle Rock Road heading northbound. The town of Wendell does have a contract with VHB Engineering to design the full build-out of the intersection. As I mentioned earlier, NCDOT does maintain both of these roadways and is supportive of the fee in lieu request as long as the town spends those funds at the intersection and improvements there. The fee in lieu will be used to assist with full build-out. You can see their portion is two turn lanes that were required as part of their TIA. VHB reviewed and adjusted quantities based on current, DOT bid averages, also what's reasonable. The fee does include mobilization, earthwork, construction, traffic control, drainage, signage, and contingency based on NCDOT standards, not contingency based on developer standards. So there is a difference when we collect a fee in lieu than if a developer were to build it. DOT does build some contingencies in there that are really key as the town moves forward. The estimate also includes utility relocation, traffic signal modification, and right-of-way acquisition and engineering. Those are included because if each developer were to go out and build their improvements, each time that signal would have to be adjusted. And so As you see, as we move forward on fee and lieu at this intersection, there will be fees related to traffic signal modification, utility relocations for every project. We are recommending you accept the fee in lieu for this project to assist with implementing the full build-out of the intersection of Wendell Falls Parkway and Eagle Rock Road. And I can field any questions that you have on this.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Mayor, I move we accept the fee in lieu of request.
All right, we have a motion to accept the fee in lieu request. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Item 6B is a fee in lieu request for the Edwards Eagle Trace, Wendell Falls Parkway, and Eagle Rock Road turn lanes for $1,736,908.60.
Yep, good evening, Mayor and board members. So this is the second fee in lieu item related to this intersection tonight. The developers of Edwards, which is True Homes, Eagle Trace, which is Taylor Morrison, are actually working together. Both of their TIAs have identified a part of each of this turn lane that they're responsible for. So they're working together and for the turn lane coming from northbound Eagle Rock onto the Parkway. So they have been working with the town on a fee in lieu estimate, as their TIAs do require this. I will note the original TIA done for Eagle Trace showed a 500-foot left turn lane. They revised it, and it called for a longer turn lane. So both developers are sharing the cost of an extra 150 feet that they were not planning from 2 years ago. So the length of the turn lane did get lengthened by DOT in a revised TIA. The second is a 100-foot right turn lane from Eagle Rock Road onto Wendell Falls Parkway heading eastbound. As I mentioned earlier, the town does have a contract with VHB to design full build-out of the intersection, and DOT does maintain these roadways and is supportive of the fee in lieu as long as we spend it at that intersection. You can see the estimate, the fee in lieu estimate is 1.7, a little over 1.7 million. It does include mobilization, earthwork, construction, traffic control, drainage, signage, and contingency based on NCDOT standards. As I mentioned earlier, the estimate also includes utility relocation, traffic signal modification, right-of-way acquisition, and engineering costs. Staff is recommending approval of the fee in lieu. And I can field any questions that you have.
All right, any questions from the board?
I just want to add real quick, Mayor, that this item, the previous one, and the earlier presentation on this intersection, I think are probably as good of an example as you can find, especially in a town our size, but probably in most local governments in North Carolina, of proactive planning on transportation improvements. Brian alluded to it really nicely, and this is not a complaint, but this is not a core function of the town of Wendell. Managing projects like this, making improvements to facilities like this that we don't own or maintain, is not our core function. We got a lot of other things that are competing priorities, but I'm glad we're doing it. I think it's important. I drive through it pretty much every day too, just like a lot of other folks. I hope that everybody, at least on this board, and anybody bored enough to be listening to us tonight will recognize this for what it is, I think, which is the proactivity on transportation planning that I think folks really seem to want and call for pretty often. So always happy to hear ideas for additional projects like this one that folks have when you see needs in the community. I know this is one that a lot of folks talked about, and appreciate staff being willing to step up to the plate to help coordinate this at once and not make it a 6-year drag-along project that takes forever and annoys people even more than it already has is a problem. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Make a motion if you want one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Move that we approve the fee and lieu request.
All right, we have a motion to approve the fee in lieu request. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Item 6C is a fee waiver request by the Wendell Chamber of Commerce to host the Wendell Chamber of Commerce banquet at the Wendell Community Center.
Good evening, once again representing Jeff. Wendell Chamber of Commerce is requesting a fee waiver to host the chamber banquet at the community center, which is scheduled for January 23rd. The time that they will be using the space would be 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. with the event occurring from 6 to 9 p.m. The event is not open to the public. There is an expectation of about 240 people to attend. Alcohol will be served, which does require 1 police officer and 1 Parks and Recreation staff. Those fees are non-waivable, so the total non-waivable fees would be $715. I believe the fees waived total $2,700. The Parks and Recreation Commission received the request during their December 10th meeting and voted in favor of waiving fees. I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, Executive Director Roger Peterson is here if you have any questions about the event
Okay.
itself.
Any questions from the board? All right, motion?
Madam Mayor, I move we grant the fee waiver request for the Wendell Chamber Banquet.
All right, we have a motion to grant the fee waiver request for the Wendell Chamber Banquet. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor? Opposed? All right. Item 6D is a fee waiver request by the Belarusian Ministry at Wakefield Central Baptist Church to host the Dancing with the Stars of Wendell and Zebulon at the Wendell Community Center.
Thank you. So Dancing with the Stars of Wendell and Zebulon is coming back on February 22nd from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The total time of use for the community center would be 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. This event is open to the public. There is an expectation of about 500 people to attend, although there's no alcohol served. The size of the event does require 1 police officer and 2 Parks and Recreation staff. Non-waived fees to include staffing, dumpster fee, cleanup fees, a total of $1,120. I believe it's $650 would be the fees that are waived for this event. Again, Parks and Recreation Commission received the request during their December 10th meeting and voted in favor of waiving fees. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Jump on this one too quickly. Unfortunately, well, let me start by saying I think Dancing with the Stars, as we all know, is one of the highlight events of Wendell every year. Sorry to steal your thunder. I'm sure you probably want to talk about it, but I have to take this opportunity to also point out the importance of the Belarusian Ministry. I do think it's a really important program that offers a really life-changing opportunities for kids from Belarus, and had a lot of churches in our community that participated in that program for a long time. So always happy to support it. Unfortunately, I don't think that this fee waiver or approval of it counts toward the fundraising goals of any of the candidates, but I would like to take this opportunity to offer anybody who's interested in buying a ticket. My wife is selling them as one of the competitors this year, and I'm sure that she'd love to talk to you. You give me a call. Be happy to talk to you about that.
Cheating. I don't know.
Jim hadn't waved me down yet, so I hadn't done anything too wrong. I'd be happy to make a motion if you want.
Madam, I think the only way it would be out of order is if I reference the fact that I'm the
You need to bring your trophy. You
2024.
should have had your trophy in here.
I did forget my trophy. I can assure you that I will be there for the night of the event and with my pink jacket and trophy in hand. And I certainly am not openly endorsing Emma Eatman to win, but I think she's got a pretty strong shot. And with that, Madam Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the fee waiver request for Dancing with the Stars.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the fee waiver request for Dancing with the Stars. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It actually is a very nice thing. My husband's family's been involved in it for, gosh, over a decade. It's very nice. All right. Item 6E is the personnel policy updates, drug-free workplace and drug and alcohol testing, ADA and FMLA.
Thank you. Town staff has contracted with T. Campbell, which specializes in public human resources law in North Carolina, to evaluate and update sections of the personnel policy related to drug-free workplace and drug and alcohol testing, Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as ADA, Sick Leave and Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA, as well as the addition of Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, PWFA. In review of our policies, T. Campbell has made the following recommendations to bring our personnel policy into legal compliance. First, under drug-free workplace and drug and alcohol testing, it's removing substance abuse as the term could trigger ADA protections, distinguishing between safety-sensitive CDL drivers and other safety-sensitive positions, and clarification on who is and is not subject to testing. Under the ADA section of the policy, it adds clarification on what is legally required, defines terms such as disability, essential functions, and major life activity, provides a process for requesting reasonable accommodations and participation in the interactive process, adds details regarding confidentiality and protection from discrimination and retaliation, and updates types of separation from disability to unavailability and providing a clear definition. Under the sick leave FMLA sections, provides additional guidance around our donation of shared leave policy, provides clarification of eligible events that qualify for FMLA, and adds further details regarding certification, medical dispute resolution, leave provisions, and protection from discrimination and retaliation. There's also the addition of the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which is legally required language that is not currently in our personnel policy. Your packet included the proposed revision to the language as well as the current policy language for comparison. Staff recommends the board adopts the proposed policy amendments to provide for the legally necessary legal compliance updates. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I don't have any questions, Madam Mayor. I had a lot of questions when I read the beginning introduction. Once I read through the entire policy, I realized that all of my questions were answered in that very detailed policy. And happy to make a motion to adopt the personnel policy updates.
Okay. We have a motion to adopt the personnel policy updates. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. All right, we'll move into our other business, the updates by board members, Wendell Volunteer Fire Department and Wake County Fire Commission. These are the only two we have tonight. Commissioner Joyner.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Fire Commission meeting hasn't happened yet. The Fire Board meeting happened last Thursday. As I think I updated you last time about the digital Knox box keys that the fire department is implementing, those are in and being implemented this week. So Chief Staples really knows how to turn a project around when you cut him loose to go turn one around. New fire trucks coming everywhere. So we'll have a new truck two new trucks, one by the end of the month and one by the likely June. So 2 new fire trucks, and there's now officially a ladder truck on order. So new fire trucks all around. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe that's it from the fire board meeting.
We'll stay with you and do our commissioner's report.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I wanted to, over the holidays, had a fun experience I had a traffic concern in Wendell, and I want to take y'all down the loop that I went down on being upset about this. I initially went outside to make sure that it was not, in fact, a 17-year-old version of myself driving the jacked-up pickup truck with the pipes that have been cut off, because I've been known to do that in my past. That got me just excited enough to do what I think all of us do when we kind of care about something but don't really want to do the follow-through. I just posted to social media immediately about it and what my views on all of it should be. That was sarcasm, by the way, which I had to go back and clarify in that social media post that is my first and second language is sarcasm, so I'll apologize again for that. Fortunately, though, and getting a little bit of time to review lots of things, you can now, if you like, go on the Town of Wendell website and you can review what the police department is doing. So when, for instance, I wanted to know if we should do more speed enforcement, you can certainly always send those messages to Town Hall or to the police department. But there's a very detailed report that talks about the amount of enforcement that we're doing. If you don't believe me, right up and down Wendell Falls Parkway or Wendell Boulevard, you'll see it. But to someone's comment earlier, like the enforcement does matter, and I appreciated when I went back to answer those questions, having detailed reports from our police department that are publicly available on our website that were the answers to my questions. I found it right there on our website, and it's certainly appreciated. As you have problems, as you run into these things, even I sometimes am guilty of reacting and posting on the internet about something when the answer to your question is sitting right on the town website. So that would be my one thing to share tonight, Madam Mayor, and looking forward to a fun year together. Welcome back.
The website's great.
It is.
I think we need a reminder to people that we do have a new website and people forget to look at it. So take a look. There's a lot of good information on there and a lot of nerdy things too, but it's all stuff you need to know. So, good stuff. All right, Commissioner Lutz? Commissioner Eatman?
Nothing else for me tonight.
Commissioner Honeycutt?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Commissioner Deloach?
Real quick, Madam Mayor, thank you. Happy 2025. I think a lot of the topics tonight, you've seen and heard a lot about town staff and what they do for our town. We had items tonight, Pleasant Grove item, the fee and lieu items, road improvements, and even to Commissioner's point, the town courts. You know, there's a lot out there. Staff do heavy lift have taken a lot of time and effort, and 2025 is going to be a good one, so just proud to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Talking about town staff, I wanted to take a moment to, real quickly, to thank our Public Works Department for the holiday decorations. I live right down the street from the square, and I passed it several times a day, frequently in the evening. And there were always people out there taking pictures and enjoying it with little kids and things like that. And it just was it pleased me tremendously. I can't tell you how much I could see people enjoying it, and you could tell. And then they would go across the street and back, and I know it was a lot of work, and I know it was a lot of continual maintenance throughout the holiday, but I want to thank y'all for that. So if you could please pass that along, I'd really appreciate it. It didn't go unnoticed, and people really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. So, all right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
All right, we're